Have you ever gone to the library looking for a specific book, but had trouble finding it? Libraries are home to thousands of books, so looking for just one can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Thankfully, librarians have come up with helpful ways to organize their books so they can be easily found. Today, we'll learn about one of the most common methods for organizing books in academic libraries, the Library of Congress classification system. Library of Congress call numbers can be found on the spines of library books. They're essentially like the address on an envelope. They tell you exactly where they're supposed to go and where they can be found. At first, Library of Congress call numbers can seem very complex and confusing. They're a seemingly random mix of numbers, letters, and decimal points. But even though it looks complicated, it's actually quite simple. These call numbers are read just like normal, from left to right and from top to bottom. The first line on the call number label is always made up of letters. This line is the first of two parts that make up the book's class. Another way to think of the class is the general subject area of the book. For example, this book is in Class G, which covers the broad subject of geography. This first part of the call number is read alphabetically, so G would come after D, and GA would come before GB. The second line is always made up of numbers, and it is the second part of the call number's class. These numbers represent the book's subclass, or specific subtopic. So while G represents geography, 1021 represents world atlases after the year 1976. This line is read numerically, so 1005 would come after 926, but before 1021. The third line is usually a decimal point containing both letters and numbers. This line is called the cutter number, and it most often stands for the author's name, although it can also represent the book's title in some cases. When reading this line, read the letters alphabetically first, so A would come before B. Then read the numbers numerically as decimal points, so 0.2 would come before 0.3, and 0.7 would come before 0.754. Some call numbers have an additional cutter number below the first to help narrow the topic. The fourth line of the call number is made up of numbers. It represents the book's publication date, or more specifically, the year the book was published. Read this number chronologically, so if there are two different editions of the same book, the older version should come before the newer, 1999 before 2012. Let's say you're looking for the Atlas of the World, published in 2012 by Oxford. First, you'd want to look in Section G for Geography. Then, you'd want to look for Subclass 1021, which represents world atlases published after the year 1976. Next, you'd want to look for point A754, which uniquely represents the title of this book, Atlas of the World. Finally, you'd want to make sure to grab the edition published in 2012. Altogether, this is what the call number for the Oxford Atlas of the World would look like. All you have to do is find the book you're looking for on the library website. Then, check to see the location of the book. Is it held in this library or in another? Next, make sure the book is available and hasn't been checked out by anyone else before you go looking for it. Finally, write down or take a picture of the book's call number from the website. Now that you know all about it, it's easy to find Library of Congress call numbers. Thanks for watching this instructional video from the library at SUNY Adirondack.